Welcome back into my office. You're here with me, Brian. And let's now examine this beautiful 19th century 3-volume monumental work on Europe. Its main focus, of course, is the scenic views to be found across the continent. This is a deluxe version of the binding that is completely embossed all around, with raised bands, gilt lettering, decorations in the compartments, beautiful, ornate, almost a Romanesque style of binding. All edges of the text block are gilt. The end papers are marbled, and the turn-ins on each volume are also ornately gilt. Each volume is very heavy, I would say 8 to 10 pounds approximately, something like this. The joints, actually the hinges rather, on the inside here are all reinforced by the publisher with tape as typical. Well, it's not really a tape, it's a binding linen cloth that's part of all of the bindings that they produced that helps to strengthen the covers. The half title here is engraved, and it's facing an engraved title page. All of the engravings throughout, there are many of them within the set. It's a well-known set. They're all done by very talented, skilled artists. Here we have the imprint, edited by Bayard Taylor, published by Appleton in 1875. This set was issued in a variety of binding styles, and this is among the nicest. There are a profusion of steel engravings throughout, all of which have tissue guards. And yes, in fact, this is essentially a plate book, and facing all of the plates, as well as scattered throughout, are wood engraved images by well-known artists such as Fenn. And so that's how this first volume survives. It's basically very clean internally, like this. I'm showing you all of it so you can see like the whole text block. A little bit of toning is typical. This first volume we'll set right here. I want to emphasize and be clear about the condition of the bindings. The only thing I noticed on the first one I showed you, was there's a little bit of scuffing here along the joint, and this first one had a tiny little bit of hairline cracking right along the rear joint, which is not present on this one. But if I lift this one up to show you, to emphasize it, you can see it's just right here. The cover is very well attached still, but I want to be really clear about any and all condition issues that might affect anyone's interest. Myself, I see that as being exceedingly trivial and non-consequential on a beautiful set like this, but we all have different standards, and there we go. Yes, this is a really wonderful, monumental set. Probably this set here is about, realistically, as nice as one could hope for without getting up into twice the price that we're asking. There's a little bit of scuffing here. Actually, this has some indentations to the board from, no doubt, in the past being laid down on top of something, but when you look at it on the shelf and when you look at it as an object, it's easy to just overlook or forgive that. And again, we have this basically very clean interior, some minor light scattered foxing along the edges of some blank margins of some of the plates. You'll notice that this foxing is often confined primarily to the paper used on these plates, which is because this is different paper from the text block paper. It was treated differently. It could even have been made somewhere different. These engravings were all printed separately, one at a time, from inked metal engraved plates. And so that can explain why sometimes in antiquarian books like this, the foxing is not shared equally by the paper throughout the work. But you see that overall, this is a splendidly preserved example of this monumental set. And if it interests you, it is available now online from me Brian DiMambro.